Welcome. We are initiating ourselves to glimpse the overview Vedic mathematical domain with Ganita Sutra 1 as the source of Sutra and Ganita Up Sutra 1 as the source of Sutra. In the previous session, we have been through some of the features and values of Ganita Sutra 2. Today, we are going to have a visit to how the Yabdunam and Tavdunam, and Yagdunam as Sutra and as Upsutra, as Sutra 9 and as Upsutra. We are going to see how these mathematical processes have been availed to reach at the organization of Vedic knowledge of the order of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The text of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, scripture of 18 chapters. Each chapter is having distinct range of shlokas. Chapter 1 is of the range of 47 shlokas, while chapter 2 is of the range of 72 shlokas. Gap between the values pair 47 and 72 is the gap value. And this gap value, as is depicted in table 1 here, is 25. And further deficiency of it from value 47 is 22. So Yavdunam means deficient element is a difference value of 72 and 47. This difference value 25 when is further equated to reach at the difference value 47 to reach at 22. 47 is 22 plus 20 and 72 is 47 plus 25. So gap value is 25 and inner gap value is 22. Once we are face to face with this feature of Yavdunam, which takes us to the difference value of 47 and 72, and Yavdunam, Tavdunam, further equal deficiency 7 minus 25 is 22. Gap value is 25, inner gap value is 22. This is the values pair. Values pair 25 and 22 as values of gap and inner gaps in respect to 1 and chapter 2 focus ranges is being reached there. This values pair 25 and 22 will be further chased, which will help us have an insight as that value 25 equal to the TC value of Vishnu, while value 22 is equal to the summation value of fourfold expression as 4, 5, 6, 7 of hypercube 6. Hypercube 6 is the representative regular body of a 6. Lord Vishnu is the overlord of 6 space. This values pair 25 and 22 together bring us face to face with Lord Vishnu and the format of hypercube 6. So it is this values pair 25 and 22, which has 22, 23, 24 and 25 comes hypercube 24. 24 is 4 into 6. 4 space plays the role of dimension of 6 space. So 2 multiplied as difference value, as dimension difference value is to be appreciated. Let us have a pause. Let us be face to face this organization feature. Chapter 1 is of the range of 47 shlokas. Chapter 2 is of the range of 72 shlokas. Difference value is 72 and 47 is 25. And this value 25 is further differenced with from value 47, it gives us 22. We subtract 25, reach at 47, and we have further subtraction of 25, we reach at 22. This values pair 25 and 22 is designated as the difference value, the gap value and inner gap value. This is being reached by Yav Dunam is deficient from Yav Dunam Tav Dunam equal further deficient from 72 and 47 is having a difference value 25. When we apply Yav Dunam, when we want to reach at the deficiency for 47 from 72, it gives us the value 25. Of Dunam. When this value 25 further deducted, then it takes us to 22. 7 is 22 plus 20. This way, we will be reaching at gap values as well as the inner gap values for all the 18 chapters. Chapter 1 and chapter 2 will give us as is tabulated in upper part of table 1. And when we want to reach at gap value and inner gap value in respect to, in reference to chapter 3, then we will be having values pair 72 and 40. 72 is the value of 72 shlokas of chapter 2 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and value 43 is the value of 43 shlokas of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Yav Dunam. The difference value 72 and 43 is 29. Avdunam. Further deficiency is from 43 taking it to value 14. 72 is equal to 43 plus 29 and 43 is equal to 29 plus 14. This way, with respect to chapter 2 and chapter 3, we are reaching at gap value as 29 and inner gap value as 14. The values pair of gap value and inner gap value comes to be 29 and 14. One can have a pause here and take note that value 14 is the summation value of hypercube for 2, 3, 4, 5, 14. And value 29 is parallel to the TC value of Lord Brahma. Formulation Brahma leads to TC value 29. And further we know that hypercube of 14 is of 29 versions. One may further have a pause here and take note that while in respect of the chapter 1 and chapter 2, as to their gap, inner gap values, we have reached that values pair 25 and 22, which gives us pair of values which together as end values will take us to hypercube. Also, here we know 25 is the TC value of Vishnu, while 22 is the summation value of hypercube. And a step ahead, chapter 2 and chapter 3 lead us to gap in inner gap values pair as 29 and 14, and values 29 and 14 interconnected as summation value of 4 folds of hypercube 4 and 29 versions. Therefore, this way we see that this organization of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the mathematical processes, Ganita Sutras, are sequentially taking us to the reach of Vedic mathematics. This reach of Vedic mathematics which deserves to be chased, and these tables 1 to 18 of gaps and inner gaps of consecutive chapters in Srimad Bhagavad Gita are the valuable source of reach of Vedic mathematics, because fulfilled with the intensity of our shall sit comfortably and to sequentially chase these gaps and inner gap values of pairs. These 18 gaps and inner gap values of pairs, as such, individually as well as collectively, are there to provide us the overview of the Vedic mathematical domain. The Vedic mathematics reach can be viewed by sadhakas by initiating themselves to be parallel with the organization format features of the text of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Text of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a text of 18 chapters. These 18 chapters, when are approached for their consecutive gaps and inner gaps, then we will be blissfully face to face with the Vedic mathematics reach. The table 3 in a sequence is taking us to the gaps and inner gaps of chapter 3 and chapter 4. These come to be 1 and 41. Relationship of 1 and 41 is very delicate relationship, as much as that Hindu Sarovar, the first component of soul syllable Om, being the first component, accepts value 1. Further, it being a Bindu Sarovar, as such, permits transcendence within it from its first fold as a dimension fold to the fourth fold as the origin fold. This reach within the Bindu Sarovar up till the origin fold is a reach from value 1 to value 4, that is values range 41. Therefore, the sadhakas are fulfilled with intensity effort to be parallel with the interrelationship organization of the pair of gap and inner gap values, particular pair of chapters, then one shall approach them either along the Sthapatya miring rod or straight along the fourfold organization of soul syllable Om. This, as such, would mean that there will be a flow, a Jyoti flow from orb of the sun through Bindu Sarovar, and same would reach up till the origin fold within the Bindu Sarovar, which would mean a reach up till the creator's space, playing the role of dimension of a sixth space. These values can be imbibed by permitting the mind to transcend parallel with the Jyoti flow from orb of the sun for its reach up till core of the earth and back along the artifices of soul syllable Om. Now the further chase of gaps and inner gaps of chapter 4, chapter 5 will lead us to the values pair 13 and 16. Value 13 is the gap value, while 16 is the inner gap value. We know 13 and 16 together as 29 are equal to and parallel with the organization of Ganita Sutra 16 and Ganita Sutra 13. Further, also we know that value 29 as TC value of Brahma here with this organization as gap will take us to Chit consciousness organ, and as X16 to G. It is this reach of the consciousness organ Chit to G is the reach. It is this reach which deserves to be imbibed. One shall sit comfortably and to sequentially imbibe the gap and inner gap values of pairs of each chapter in reference to this next chapter as the yoga discipline. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a scripture of 18 yoga disciplines. These yoga disciplines are the bridging of the gaps and inner gaps of the consecutive chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Like that, one shall proceed and sequentially reach at the chapter 5 and chapter 6 or their gap in inner gap values pair as 18 and 11. One may have a pause here and take note that 18 and 11 again is of value 29, value of creator space. Therefore, one shall sit comfortably and permit the transcending mind as to how the yoga discipline of chapter 5 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is availing values pair 18 and 11, of which value 18 is equal to summation value of four folds of hypercube 5, 3, 5, and value 11 is parallel to the 11 geometry's range of 5 space. Chapter 6th table as a transition from chapter 6 to chapter 7 takes us to value space 17 and 13 of summation value 30. One may have a pause here and take note that value 17 is the TC value of Atma, while value 13 is the TC value of Chit. So, a reach of the consciousness up till the Atma. Or chapter 6, in terms of its discipline of yoga, is providing, bridging the gap up till inner gap level of reach from chapter 6 to chapter 7. Further, it also will be blissful to take note that 17 plus 13 is 30, which is the TC value of Sahita. Therefore, one may have a glimpse of reach up till the Samhita level as far as the reach is up till the yoga discipline of chapter 6. Step ahead, the gap in inner gap values pair of chapter 7 and chapter 8 comes to be 2 and 26 of summation value 28, which is parallel with the TC value of a Brahm. The reach from chapter 8 to chapter 9 is of gap in inner gap values pair 22 and 6, which again comes to be 28. See chapter 4 and 5 who are leading us to gap in inner gap value summation as 29. However, here chapter 7 and chapter 8 are taking us to 28. So it is value 29 and value 28 being reached with chapter 6 as of value 30. So see 29, 30 and 28. This organization format feature which deserves to be comprehended well. One shall sit comfortably and to sequentially imbibe these format feature values of organization of gaps and inner gap values of the consecutive chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Likewise, we shall continue proceeding further and we shall continue glimpsing the gaps 9 and 10 as of value 34, gaps of value 10 and 11 as of value 42, gaps of 11 and 12 chapters as value 50, and then chapter 12 take us to value 20. We shall draw a table. One shall reach at a range of values of the gaps. One shall simultaneously take a range of the values of inner gaps. Then have a chase by pairing gaps and inner gaps, and thereafter one shall further chase this intercoordinated format of gaps and inner gaps in their sequential order of all such 18 set of disciplines. Once one will be parallel with all these gaps values 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, then one will have the bliss of a reach of Vedic mathematical domain. This reach of Vedic mathematical domain being parallel with the reach of 18 yoga disciplines of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, living in the gaps and inner gaps of the consecutive chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. These values lively within the gaps and inner gaps are to be imbibed. One shall sit comfortably and permit the transcending mind to dive within the Vedic mathematical domain. This diving within the mathematical domain will mean diving within the six space domain. Hypercube 6 domain is to be glimpsed by diving within this domain along its creative dimensional frame. So one is to transcend from six space as domain to four space as dimension, and then further from four space as dimension to two space as dimension of dimension, called Rishi glimpsing, by diving within the domain and coming face to face with the origin of the domain. We know the origin of our solar universe is a pole star. The pole star is of hypercube 7 format. It is a unity state. Therefore, the sadhakas fulfilled with intensity efforts to be parallel with Vedic mathematical domain and Vedic mathematical processes shall permit the transcending mind to glimpse and imbibe these values by having transcendence within six space domain and by being face to face with the origin of our solar universe of unity state format. Thank you very much.